All right, so welcome to another video. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 3 different ways to find hot stocks ready to break out for option traders. So let's get started. We're going to take a look at some different charting things here on the platform. The platform that I like to personally use, this is known as TC2000. You can check out our website. Just head on over to tradersfly.com. There's going to be in the resources page, and you can also check out some of the classes there available as well. So let's kind of get started. So let's start out with number 1. And the first way here that I'm going to share with you on how to do kind of this breakout or finding some hot stocks is by looking at the volume. Typically what volume is just a quantity of shares that are being traded for any given day or month or year or any time period for that matter. If you take a look at what I have here on this TC2000 platform, the volume is going to be here on the bottom section of the chart, and it'll tell you, are we trading, 800 million shares, 600 million shares? And this could be for the weekly. It might be a lot less. It might be 500 million. It might be 300 million. It might be 200 million. So at every different time period, you're going to see different amounts of volume, and you'll see that different time periods will trade more or less volume. So for example, if there's more volume, think of volume as like the fuel or the gas. If there's more volume coming in, oftentimes this can be a good sign to push the stock higher. So if we're looking to set up a spread, let's say we're doing like a bullish vertical spread, a bullish calendar, or a bullish diagonal spread, this could be a good time to place something a little more bullish because the volume's coming in and the stock is also pressing into higher prices. Now, this could also be a little bit of a downside if you've got, a lot of volume coming in and the stock is selling off. Now, that means there's going to be a lot of sellers pushing the stock lower. So when you see something like this rolling over along with big volume on the sell side, then what's going to happen is that you'll get more downside action. And that's when you can create some bearish spreads or bearish trade strategies. Now, one way to do this or take a look at this is if you have the TC2000 platform, I have a thing called Volume Buzz. And what Volume Buzz kind of tells me is if I sort by Volume Buzz, it allows me to kind of look at this and see, hey, which stocks have a lot of volume coming in right now this week, and what's really happening either for the day, for the week, and you can kind of set up some parameters here. And then I can click through the different charts and say, hey, Twitter's trading maybe 160% more over the daily volume. So as we look at kind of this this chart or time frame, you can see the volume buzz here is one of the indicators. Now that one's more proprietary for the TC2000 platform. If you don't have that, what you could do is go ahead and take a look at just the volume overall and set an indicator of if we're 20% over the 20-day moving average of volume. So for example, what this line does here on the volume is I've put an indicator here that gives me the moving average of the volume. And what it does is it shows you, hey, what's the average over the last 20 days? And here, if I go in and take a look at it, I can see that at that point, the average volume is about 103 million shares. So if we're starting to go, let's say 200 million shares for the day, then I know we're trading above volume. And that could be a good sign, or it could be a bad sign if we're kind of pressing down or lower or selling off. But it allows you to set up an indicator in your charting platform, whatever charting platform you use, to be able to set kind of an alert right here for saying, hey, I want to see stocks that are trading above the 20-day moving average volume. And that's one way to kind of spot those kinds of things. All right, so idea number 2 when it comes to finding some hot stocks ready to break out is kind of using the moving averages. And you can see in this chart, what I have is a few moving averages. Now, the moving averages you pick are going to be different from the moving averages somebody else uses, simply because if you use longer dated moving averages, it's going to smooth things out on a longer time frame. If you use shorter time frames, it'll be much faster, meaning you'll be trading at a shorter duration. So here, what I have is, as a simple example, I've got the 10, 21, and 34 moving average. So what I'm going to do is hide this 21 moving average. And now I have this blue line with the 34 day exponential moving average, and then the exponential moving average for the 10-day as well. So what I'm watching for is really, I'm looking for this to kind of go down. And as this is going down, I'm waiting for a crossover. So a crossing point is really where I would want to get into the stock. So here, notice here, we're crossing over. and we're pressing now higher, and that could be your entry point, and then you wait for it to cross either back or you could wait for it to go under. So I made this a little bit easier by this, and here's kind of an example. So I have a 10 moving average exponential and a 34. So anywhere where this is above, where the 10 is crossing the 34, I've color coded these bars automatically. The chart program color codes them to white, and this would be kind of your entry point. Now, you could go ahead and keep staying in this trend and in the trade until the crossover is done. Now, the crossover normally would be done here, but what I've done is change the color coding to get out when it crosses below the 34. So you can see here where we color code white when the 10 is exponential moving average is above right here, the 34, okay? And then for the yellow bars, our exit point would be when it's below the 34. So this just gives me an earlier exit and a later kind of entry. So kind of that way I'm not waiting all the way to this point to exit. Instead, I'm exiting more around this point. So I'm just watching white and yellow. So I would get out right there on the yellow, white. You could say, hey, it's not crossing over yet, but it's going to start probably getting into this zone right here. So as we look at it, it's not going to be perfect, but here's our crossover. That could be your entry point right there. And there would be your exit right there. It's getting out. So that trade you could see would not work out as great, but then we get another opportunity. There it is, kind of the white getting back into the white, allowing that trade to continue to run its course. And then we would kind of exit right there on the first yellow candle. So in either case, using moving averages could be another great way to spotting, hey, hot stocks or stocks moving in a trend in a certain direction. And it could be fantastic for catching a directional move. All right, so I want to share with you number 3 and the third way, and that's going to be looking at some social media, Google Trends, stock twits, or any other medium that really uses ticker symbols. I'll show you one way of looking at this. So let's say we go into stock twits. If you're looking for kind of the day, there's a lot of stocks at the top right here that show you the trend of, hey, what are people typing in? PayPal, JP Morgan. JP Morgan just had earnings, by the way. So that's why that's pretty popular. DAL, GPS, Bed Bath & Beyond. So there's a lot of these kinds of stocks, and these are also usually the big movers. So if you're looking to set up a spread, let's say a calendar spread, diagonal spread, whatever kind of spread you're looking to put in, if I put in JP Morgan, you can see there's a lot of volume activity already in just a handful of hours. If I look at BBBY, also a lot of volume coming in, and that's also a lot of tweets, or on stock twits, there's a lot of discussion about it as well. So there's going to be a lot of trading activity. So if you're struggling to deal with the volume side of it, you could also look at, hey, what are people chatting about? Because these are usually stocks that are starting to get a lot of buzz. And with a lot of chatter, usually more money will come into the stock or go out of the stock. So it doesn't mean it's going to go up. It just means it's going to move one way or the other. So definitely things to keep on your radar. If you take a look at here, DAL, we've got DAL, GPS. So we'll take a look at this. So DAL, you can see it's pressing higher, gapping a little bit. And then GPS, trying to break out a little bit right here. So again, you can see some of those things where the stock is getting a little bit of buzz. So that's kind of one medium. But let's say you're not into stock twits and you don't like all the stuff there. You could also use Google Trends. Google Trends is another way where you can see what people are searching for rather than, pushing the buzz. They're actually just searching for. So I could go to Google Trends, and then what I can do is go into the United States. I could do it in the past day. I could do it in the past 30 days, actually. If you're looking for longer duration, I could do it the past 7 days. So if we go to the past 7 days and we do a web search for the term stock, or even stock analysis, what you'll be able to see is go in here and see, okay, well, what about stock analysis? What's going in here? What's rising or what's at the top? And you can see stock market analysis, technical analysis, that's all, kind of educational stuff. So if we back this with just stock, you'll get much more favorable results usually. And then what you'll see is here, as we zoom in, you can see Vero stock, it's rising by 2,150%. WBD stock price, PTE stock, HPK, HPQ, HP. Warren Buffett was getting into HP, by the way, and that's why that one's moving. AT&T, Shopify, JP Morgan again, because that one's moving. And these are rising, but you could also see what's the top. So Tesla, Amazon, AMC are kind of the top searches for the last 7 days, I believe. Twitter, Neo, Google, stock futures, Ford, Tesla, GME, Disney, and AMD. So you could see, just because they're popular, though, doesn't necessarily mean the searches could just be stocks that people are in, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be breaking out or it's new volume. So you have to kind of get familiar with what are people searching for, because obviously Amazon, Tesla are going to be popular just because of the sheer liquidity of volume that's in them. But here we can go on YouTube, and here's some more kind of things you can look at. Hey, the people are looking at these types of stocks, and it'll just give you some ideas for scanning criteria. So not all of these will trade liquid options. Normally when you're dealing with options, I would say, hey, let's stick with liquid options and make sure that you have some weekly options. So here, for example, Veru does not have weekly options. So if we take a look at this, there's no weekly things going in here. But if I go to QQQ, and I start pulling this data up, just look at all the option liquidity here. So there's a lot more there when it comes to liquidity and getting in and out of the trade. So if you're setting up a spread, it just makes it a lot easier rather than trading those stocks that are more difficult to get in, or even worse, trying to get out of them. So anyways, those are kind of the three main methods, I would say, to really looking for breakout things and things that are moving in stocks. And if you're looking to create spreads, it's a good way to kind of approach it, or starting point. Obviously, you want to take patterns into account here, because there's a lot of different patterns crossing over, moving averages, supports, resistance, that kind of thing. But this maybe will give you a starting point for your own creativity of, hey, how do you like to find and pick your stocks? And then you can take that and work with it and kind of evolve it and expand it to your personal needs and likings. Anyways, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Truly appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out the live classes that we have on our website at tradersfly.com. Link will be in the description below. And I will see you in the next video update.